Wondering how to expand into AI and automation without abandoning what you've already worked on? This opportunity is massive, as you know, but most tech partners are approaching it maybe in the wrong way. Hello, I'm Paul, and welcome to my podcast. And this is episode 651. In this podcast, I talk to Leandra Nisbet from Stingray Advisory Group. You will learn three key things. One is how to calculate the true ROI of AI implementations before committing time and money. The second is a 3P framework that helps overwhelmed entrepreneurs scale without burning out, and how you can create your methodology. And the third is why transforming from platform-specific to platform-agnostic consulting can multiply your opportunities. Leandra Nisbet is the founder of Stingray Advisory Group, helping small business owners and entrepreneurs grow without losing their passion. With a background in computer technology and 12 years of business experience, she successfully transitioned from being a Zoho authorized partner to building an AI solution business that solves real problems. Over now to Leandra from StingrayAdvisoryGroup.com. Leandra, great to have you here.
Thank you so much. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, well, look, we've had some great conversations leading up to today, but can't wait now to finally be on air. And you've had a great transition, not just from your career, which I've said in the opening, but also the fact that you did start as what I call a SaaS partner, which is Zoho, and then you've transitioned more into AI, as AI is ever exciting and changing by the second. But why don't we kick off with who your ideal clients are and what problems you love to solve for them?
Sure. My ideal clients are small business owners and entrepreneurs who are really looking to grow or scale their business without losing their passion and not getting burnt out along the way. Or when, as we know, that tends to happen as we're advancing in our businesses and careers. So really helping people be able to reignite that passion and kind of fall in love with their businesses again.
Yeah, great. And do they, where are you finding them? You finding them when they're at rock bottom, or you're finding them as they're going down? Like, what's the pattern at the moment as to in that trajectory? Where are they?
Yeah, it's typically the type of business owners who feel like they're getting a little bit stuck. They feel like they've hit a ceiling or a wall, and they're just really not sure how to get to the next level, but they know they could be doing better, but they don't necessarily want to be doing more.
Gotcha. And I know there's a lot of discussion at the moment around, will AI replace people, which is, the key topic. But in your instance, have you got a sequence where is it automation, AI, worst case scenario, find a person, or like to free up this workload, where are you finding the best places to start and evolve?
Yeah. Well, I really think that it's important for you to be able to figure out a happy medium and a balance in all of those cases. I'm of the perspective that AI is not going to replace people. We will always still need to be involved in those processes and workflows from an oversight standpoint, from being able to review content before it gets published, those types of things, and helping with the creation and curation to make sure the outputs are what we want, and really being able to find and maintain our voices throughout the process. Within the work that I'm doing with clients, it's really important and crucial that there is still that human element and involvement.
Yes. And I know for myself, fortunately, one of my team members, they were going through uni, they've graduated, just got another role, which is fantastic, their first full-time role, which was so excited for Sarah. But that then meant that the work came back on me, and I'm thinking, okay, well, I can try to solve most of it with AI. And to be honest, it's got to a point where, yes, I used AI to help me define the SOP, which was fantastic, what I do, etc. But it sort of gets to a point where, hey, I still need someone. And
Yes.
by the sounds of it, that's still the process that you're seeing at the moment.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. And then, because I see a lot of these on TikTok in particular, like, here's all the AI agents, here's the org chart of all the AI agents, and and I'm like, I don't know, I just can't see that. I haven't been able to get that far. With you, have you gone down that path and seeing if AI agents can do a lot of the work that effectively what a person would do?
I'm dabbling with it, but again, I find tremendous value in fellow humans. I think my team is essential and crucial to the work that we're doing and the services we're providing to our clients. So I don't want to eliminate that by just saying a bot or an agent can do it instead. And as a business owner, I really pride myself on the job creation that I've been able to do. And I don't want to eliminate that element of our work and my company, even though technology, I think, is a great support and assistant, so to speak. It is not a replacement for, at least not in the work we're doing.
I think if we were dealing with AI on the other end, AI, I think that makes sense. But humans, as we all know, we're not 100% rational. So, there's so many scenarios where I even look at automation, like we just go high level. If you go to automate that, there's so many, but what about this scenario? What about that scenario, right? Yes, there are elements that you can do, but not all. So I said at the start that you sort of started with Zoho. When was the first inkling that, maybe I need to evolve from SaaS platform Zoho into this huge opportunity, which is AI?
I've always been a lover of technology, and I have a background. Actually, one of my undergrad degrees is in computer technology. So I've been in the tech space in a variety of ways for years. I've never been platform agnostic when it comes to the utilization of technology within my business or with the tools that we use to serve and support our clients. For example, one of the spaces that we provide support in is with helping businesses with financial literacy, improving the relationship with their numbers to be able to make more data-driven and informed decisions. That said, it is very common in that space for companies and organizations to say, oh, well, you need to use QuickBooks. We'll support you with your bookkeeping in QuickBooks. I've never said that because I don't think QuickBooks is the only answer. I think it's very important, especially with as quickly and as rapidly as technology and consumer and business needs are changing and evolving, that you need to be adaptable. For me, as somebody who always has enjoyed technology anyway, it just was a natural transition to say, what are the tools and the tech stack and resources that are available that people are utilizing, where people are getting stuck and hung up, and where I see value and impact to be able to serve and support and show up in those spaces versus saying it's 100% siloed to one platform, one system, one way to do something.
Have you done any vibe coding at the moment? Like, have you moved down that path?
No, that's not really my thing. I don't know why. Like, it's one of those, I know people are doing it and I do see the value and I think it's fun to tinker with.
Yeah.
But from a work standpoint, I'm not really doing a lot in that space.
Yeah, well, I'm working with a Monday partner at the moment, and what they're doing from a customized, creating software where Monday can't go is quite phenomenal. But anyway, that's for another show. We'll go back to, I know you've got a key framework, the 3 Ps. Just tell us a little bit more about that and how it gets value for your clients.
Sure. The framework and methodology that we use and that weaves into all of our engagements is our 3 Ps framework, which is focusing on people, pricing, and planning. Because I think those are essential elements for any business owner who's looking to make sure that their business is sustainable long term. Really making sure from the people standpoint, it's twofold. Looking at the people internally within your organization and your capacity and your human capital, and then also who are those stakeholders, whether that's your clients, whether that's, other external considerations from your operation. Pricing, if you don't know your numbers and if you aren't priced for profitability, then you don't have a sustainable business. And then that planning piece is really thinking about creating actionable, implementable plans for growth so that people know where they are, where they're going, and how they actually get there. And making sure that that's approachable. So all of those elements weave into the work that we're doing to help support and grow our clients and their businesses.
And how did you evolve to this methodology? Was it something that when you open your doors, it's like, that's what I'm going with? Or did it, just tell us how it evolved.
Yeah, I would say it has been an evolution to define the framework in that context, but it has been something I've been doing from the beginning. When I originally started my business, the 3 areas that we have focused on from the beginning and we still do today are helping people, as I said, improve their relationship with their numbers, but also be able to find and engage with the right audience and be able to create those actionable, implementable growth plans. That has always been the framework and the foundation for the work that we're doing, but really putting it under the context of the 3 Ps and that framework has been something that has evolved over time.
Great. And is that, so if I went to your website today, which is stingrayadvisorygroup.com, would that be quite evident in your website? Like, are you using it as a key element of your marketing, not just your delivery?
I would say it's definitely more so weaved into the delivery. When it comes to our marketing and messaging, we are highlighting the impact of the work that we're doing and really being able to allow people and prospective clients and partners to see from our clients directly. We have a lot of testimonials, case studies, things where we're highlighting the work that we do in our engagements, and it certainly shows up in those spaces as well.
When you first start off with a client, they sort of tell you their problems, you're getting them out of this burnout. Where do you start? Like, have you got an 80-20 where hey, I know where the low-hanging fruit is under the 3 Ps, or, how do you diagnose where the best opportunity is?
Yeah. For me, I really want to come into engagements open-minded. I don't want to have a preconceived notion of this is the direction it's going to go, because the work that we do is customized to all of our clients. We don't have a cookie cutter approach of like, it's package A and this is the solution to all of your problems. That initial onset of an engagement, it's essential to really be able to do that deep dive conversation and analysis and assessment to understand, where are the challenges, where are the pain points that you're running into. I also want to know what's working really well. What do you love about your business and the way things are going for you? What are the things that you don't want to lose that are essential to your operation? And then being able from there to assess and create that plan for, okay, here's where I see that you need to go. Here's where those opportunities lie. And then also there are certain things that organically come up in those conversations that people aren't thinking of as challenges or pain points, but, I can hear them. Those are things that are kind of under the water, uncovered throughout the course of the conversation, to be able to lean into a little bit more and really see about addressing those as well.
And your approach, how much different was it when I know you were platform agnostic, but let's say you're, more SaaS, Zoho versus AI. Is it similar? Is it different?
I think it was very similar, because I still have always wanted to know the why. Like, I always want to know what's going on. Why do you think it's happening that way? Because of my personality and just my approach to problem solving and communication and process improvement. That, I would say, has been consistent all along the way. It's just maybe where the roadmap leads. And even at that, I will say, even as a SaaS partner, I have always been candid that if there's another solution that's better, then there's another solution that's better. So there's also that consideration.
Yeah. And how do you keep on top of all of the changes with AI at the moment? Because it's great to be, more agnostic, but often that comes with complexity of, knowing all the options. How are you keeping yourself up to date with that?
I love that question, and I'm not sure if you're going to love my answer. My answer is I don't, because I try to avoid shiny object syndrome. I don't want to get sidetracked by the newest thing all the time. I like to be knowledgeable, so I will keep up to date with improvements, certainly to the platforms that I'm utilizing or helping clients with. Platforms specific to problems or pain points that either I'm looking to solve within my business or even personal life, and just things that I want to optimize or that I think I can see as a value add moving forward. I'm not trying to get distracted by all of the other things, because there's way too much going on. And I think that actually is a huge distraction, and it's taking too much of my valuable time to do those things. I want to be very strategic and intentional with what I'm looking for and why I'm looking into it, and figuring out, is this going to be a value add or not, and moving on from there.
Yeah, I think that's really wise. And I think that sort of goes to the next point, which I know that you look for, I suppose, where the key time sucks are, like you said, but it seems like you've got a very practical approach, not to just where you do the research, but also on the things that are obvious. I think, tell us a little bit about that, because that's certainly what we've talked about pre-interview, that, you go where it's the biggest elements of the business and the fundamental business challenges, rather than going tactical on something because an AI can do a particular feature, but that doesn't really improve the business.
Exactly. Yeah. To me, I think about it like any other type of strategy or methodology that one might implement in their business. Just because you hear somebody else is doing it a certain way, that doesn't mean it's applicable to you or your business.
Yes.
You hear the latest and the greatest of XYZ. That doesn't mean it has anything to do with you. And so for me, I'm always thinking, what is the use case for this? Is there actually going to be a value add in taking the time to implement this? Because that has a cost to it. So if I'm not seeing a return on that investment of my time to learn and implement a new platform, plus you also have to think about potentially the monetary exchange for that and the additional investment and the ongoing cost and all of those things. What is the benefit to this? Or could I have focused in on the one thing that I was already using and using it very well that I know and can streamline or optimize and continue moving forward?
Yeah, and look, I'm old enough to go through the digital in sort of the early 2010s, etc. It was all about digitize. We're going to digitize your business, etc. But the fundamental business still stayed the same, right? So I think this is an evolution of that. Where the end point gets to, who knows? But I think at the moment, totally agree with that. And you talked about ROI, like how are you calculating the ROI gain from the implementation that you're doing?
Well, I like numbers. So for me, there are times when I will actually sit down and do an analysis to figure out what do I think that this is going to save me in time investment, plus the cost of the monetary investment to maintain the tool versus how much time it's taking myself or another team member to complete the work right now. When I will factor in things like, okay, what is going to be the ongoing or initial setup cost for this? What is the ongoing monthly cost for the platform? How much time is it going to take for me to help with setting it up? How much time will it take for a team member or myself to learn it and actually start to implement it and onboard into it? And then the ongoing time it will take to use it for the workflow or process that we're looking to manage.
Yes.
Comparing that against how much time it's taking me or somebody else right now. What are they being compensated for that time? All of those things. So I will actually run the numbers sometimes to say, is this going to be the best investment of time and money versus maintaining the way that we're doing it or figuring out how to streamline the way that we're doing it, manually?
That's internal. Is it the exact same process that you use for the client?
Oh, absolutely. I think it's incredibly important. I mean, I wouldn't ever push or encourage a client to do something that I wouldn't see as valuable or think about implementing within my own business in the same use case or need. Yes, we will certainly do a similar type of analysis to be able to say, okay, is this really worth making this transition? And I always, especially when I'm working with clients, I'm also thinking about the consistency. Because it's very easy to make a change. It's not always easy to build the habit to keep up with the change. It's certainly counterproductive if we completely revamp and overhaul how somebody is operating and then expecting them to be able to take that and run with it, and they don't.
Yeah. And have you built an ROI calculator, like using AI, or is it something you're doing, in Excel or Google? Like, how are you actually doing the calculation?
Yeah, I actually use that in Excel or like a Google Sheet. Actually, I don't use Excel, but to be able to keep that. I mean, it's very simple, clean, streamlined. I mean, there's a few key fields and data points that I'm able to plug in and very quickly determine, does this seem like it's something worth pursuing or not?
Great. Some use cases. So let's talk about some of the use cases that you've seen the SMB burnout entrepreneur, get value from.
Yeah, some I think are low-hanging fruit opportunities, which are looking at automations and simple things. Like I always encourage looking at the tools that you're already using before you think about building into your tech stack.
Yes.
So for example, I mean, if we're working with a client on bookkeeping and the issue is that they are not consistently reviewing their profit and loss statement or their balance sheet, well, let's automate so that every Friday you're getting your profit and loss statement emailed to you. And once a month on the 5th, you're getting a copy of your balance sheet emailed to you. If nothing else, it's going to trigger and remind you that you haven't gone in to update your numbers if it's something that you're supposed to be manually keeping up with. Because it's visual, it's front and center. It's not relying on you to go into one more tool or platform. That is a very simple use case or a way to say, well, what is a problem? How can I help solve that and use technology to assist me with that without having a huge heavy lift?
Yes.
So to me, one use case is looking at the tools and platforms that we're already utilizing or that our clients are utilizing and being able to say, how can we improve the way they're operating in those tools right now before we even think about building anything else in?
Great. And those automations, what are you doing in those automations?
Oh, for example, that could be a simple one within QuickBooks. That's something that you can do within the bookkeeping platforms themselves to be able to say, okay, let's make sure that this is staying top of mind and that if it's coming directly to you, it's not even relying on you to log into another platform or tool because we're all in our email, whether we want to be or want to admit it or not. Yes. And it'll be right there.
Yeah, great. And from an LLM perspective, have you got any particular tools or any particular companies that you prefer? Are you using more ChatGPT versus Claude, or are you using, once again, best platform for that specific scenario?
Yeah, I would say it's best for the scenario. A lot, certainly with ChatGPT. I think there are a lot of use cases and value adds within the platform. I also like Notebook LM for being able to organize and compile information and being able to reference that. So I think those two are definitely go-to resources when it comes to the AI space.
And with recording this in September, because I'm going to the US, with that as a bit of a caveat, what are some of the things that you're loving about the new ChatGPT 5, and what are some of the use cases that you're using that you think that some of our audience mightn't have used as yet?
I have kind of mixed reviews on 5. I still kind of prefer 4, but that's okay. I think when you're able to really prompt ChatGPT and the 5 model to be able to do that deeper thinking and really being able to get more granular into a conversation or discussion and telling it specifically what you need and what you're looking for, I think can be very helpful. I think some of the feedback and articles and conversations that I've had with others around a little bit of the apprehension with it or a slight dislike is that it's not as, I don't want to say soft, I'm not really sure what the best word is for it, not as personal in a weird way as the 4 models were. And I would agree, but I've also done a lot with building out custom GPTs and things within mine, and you still have the option to toggle between the models. So to me, I really haven't noticed a tremendous amount of difference because I'm still using the preferred model that I want for the use case that I have. So I think that's also helpful, just to remember and be able to say, how do you want to set the tools up to work for you and the specific need that you have in the moment?
And are you providing your end client any custom GDPs to help them to give you the information that you need to work with them?
That's actually really a good question. So one of the things that I've actually been building out is a dashboard in Manus. And within that, it's an interactive dashboard. End user, my client, is able to actually utilize the dashboard to edit and input information so that we can have real-time updates to be able to analyze specific data points and information that would be normally manually gathering and or entering and pulling from various different sources. So that way, it's also good for accountability and involvement. You know, there are certain use cases where that I think could be better from an automation standpoint to pull all of that. But then there are others where I think the human involvement of like keeping it top of mind and again, seeing it, being involved and really as a reminder to go in and analyze and look at the data is important.
Yeah, great. And we sort of touched a bit on the automations, but I know that you've sort of had a dislike-like relationship with Zapier. What sort of turned the corner for you with Zapier?
Yes, I certainly have. For me, what changed is the fact that Zapier has continued to improve the platform. So I think their continued investment in the tool has made it much more valuable and approachable. For example, they're even building a lot of AI into the tool itself. In the past, where I feel like if I was working on a workflow and I built out the automation and something got hung up, there really wasn't much else to do to really support that or move through it real time. I mean, certainly you can reach out to support and things, and their support, to be honest, is actually quite great. But there's always that, like, I've set it up, I've run it, it's live, and then I get an email notification saying, like, there's a problem with the Zap. Yes. So then it's just like, oh, let me go back to that. But now, not only I feel like it's so much easier to be able to test and launch your Zaps, but they've also built in things where you can use their AI kind of co-pilot, so to speak, to help you build them out. It will draft them for you. And because of all of the other tools such as ChatGPT, Manus, etc., I mean, it's pretty much up to my brain what I can envision a workflow to be. And I can just use one of my tools to say, hey, I want an automation for this, this, and this. And I just describe it in plain English what I'm looking for, and it can help walk me through creating that. So there's less of a learning curve, and there's less of that pain point of like, well, this isn't going to ultimately do what I want, or it's going to break somewhere along the way after I've spent a lot of time investing in getting it off the ground. Yeah, I think that their platform continues to improve dramatically. I certainly am definitely a fan now.
Yeah, fantastic. All right, great. Well, what we're going to do is pause for a moment, thank our sponsors, and then we'll come back for the rapid fire questions. Brilliant execution, terrible strategy. You can solve any client problem, but you're stuck in the same revenue patterns, same deal sizes, same time for money trap. I'm Paul, and I built and sold a 7-figure consulting business, but here's what I've learned mentoring other consultants. The real breakthroughs happen when you combine my experience with live problem solving of people going through exactly what you're facing now. In my group program, Steve works through his VA delegation challenge with Jed. Jed shares what's actually working. Andrew tests his pricing strategy with Casey, and Casey demonstrates his client onboarding system. Everyone's figuring it out together with my guidance based on what I learned the hard way. It's not theory, it's real-time strategic thinking with consultants in the trenches plus someone who's already made the journey. Stop grinding alone. Start thinking strategically. Go to paulhigginsmentoring.com/WWM. That's paulhigginsmentoring.com/WWM. So, Leandra, just a reminder that you're listening to Leandra Nisbet. It's episode 651. And what we're going to do now is go into the rapid fire. I'm going to ask you 4 questions, get rapid replies. You ready?
Yes.
Okay, so the first one is, I know we've talked a lot about AI, but is there any AI that you're using that we haven't mentioned that you'd like to mention now?
I would say one that I've been playing around with is Gemini's Nano Banana and doing some image creation and editing. That's been really fun.
Yeah, fantastic. And what's been your best go-to-market? What's the best way to get these burnout entrepreneurs?
While not tech related, it really is the old school marketing strategies in this one, honestly. I'm going to say our referrals. Truly value and appreciate the referrals that we have from our existing and even previous clients and community partners. And that's been fantastic.
Great. And where do you go to learn not just about AI that we mentioned before, but running your business?
Oh, I'm a huge believer in lifelong learning and continuing education, professional development. So for me, I'm always researching and reading, whether you give me a good book or I'm finding like a new Kindle reader like option. Or I also do a lot of investment in training and classes just to keep up to date with what's happening and keeping things top of mind.
And how do you find those training classes?
Sometimes it's talking with partners and mentors and seeing, what things they've been involved with and what works well. And also just some of it is research. I'm really keeping my eye out and open for opportunities, again, very strategically and intentionally in the specific spaces where I feel like I want to further grow and learn.
Yeah, and it seems like some of the influencers at the moment are mentioning other people's courses to get, that seems to be something that's happening in September of
Yes.
2025. So that's making it a little bit easier in doing that research. The last one is, what do you know now that you wish you had known earlier? You've been in this, your own business for 12 years now. What's your answer to that question?
That's a good one. Something that I wish I knew then that I know now.
Yes.
I would have to say to remember the value and the impact that I'm having instead of focusing solely on things like price. I mean, even within our framework and that pricing component, it's something that, I work with clients on all the time. But I think even for myself, remembering earlier on about the bigger impact and that the value add and my education, impact, education, expertise, et cetera, and how that really impacts our clients as well.
And then I think that's a great way to finish. And, often for me, the money is just the way that it funds what your lifestyle wants to be, right? So and people often ask me, like, why do you ask me personal questions in a first call? I'm like, well, aren't you doing this for your family and for the people that really matters, right? You're not doing it to stick up on the pub on a Friday night. Here's my P&L, and this is, it's like, no, I went on this trip or I did this with my children. That's the reason we're all doing. Otherwise, we would all be in corporate and getting that sustainable job. So I think that's a great way to finish. As I said, Leandra's episode 651. You can find out more at stingrayadvisorygroup.com, and also we'll have all the links in the show notes. But thanks for coming on, and I think putting some practicality around what can be a very shiny industry that's chasing a lot of shiny objects. So, thanks for coming on and sharing your wisdom today.
You're welcome, Paul. Thanks for having me. Happy to be here.
The key takeaway here is refreshingly practical. Don't chase every AI tool, note to myself, that appears. Leandra's approach of calculating ROI first and focusing on fundamental business challenges rather than technical features is exactly what consultants like you need to hear right now. Reach out to Leandra on LinkedIn and thank her and ask her questions. You can tell she's incredibly intelligent and she always wants to know the true why. You could also connect with her on Instagram, where she's very active on content. You can also visit stingrayadvisorygroup.com to learn more about her and maybe even partner with her if you're going to stay platform specific. Her 3P framework and how she helps entrepreneurs scale is very good. You can watch this episode on the Paul Higgins Mentoring channel, and please subscribe if you do, and I'll see you next time on my podcast. What's your key takeaway from today? I'd love to hear. Want weekly insights on who to target and what to sell? Join my newsletter at paulhigginsmentoring.com/newsletter and share this with another tech consultant ready to escape the project grind.